Hello, beautiful souls. This week I wanted to talk about a topic that's very dear to my heart, as usual, which is the topic of relationships and why relationship itself as a path can be a path to enlightenment. If you're on this channel, then you appreciate consciousness, awakening, spiritual ascension, elevation, coming to a place of really higher connection with the universe and life and the deepest levels of self-love. So in relationships, the main thing that happens as your energy and the energy of another person, another being, starts coming close, it becomes like a pressure cooker. So all the stuff that was hidden, all the stuff that was compressed, all the stuff that was veiled, all the stuff that was kind of put aside to be proper, to be a member of society, starts to come out of the darkness because there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to escape. You're living in the same home, you're living in the same space, you're sleeping in the same bed. And so the spiritual path starts as the truth starts to elevate. In alchemy, this is called negredo, and the blackness starts to come out. Of course, relationships also awaken the deepest gifts. To have a partner who truly appreciates your gifts and see your beauty is what brought you together. So of course it operates on both ends. But true liberation, true ascension comes from embracing the shadow. That's self-love, right? Self-love is not just, I love myself, I love my body, I love my gifts. Self-love is the place where I have the deepest shadow, the deepest pain, the deepest trigger. How is that a part of me? How is that standing between me and liberation, ascension? So in the relationship, it's like a pressure cooker that allows that stuff to start coming back up. Now for most people, that stuff starts to come up, the relationship gets difficult, and they either break up or they separate energetically. And we've seen this a lot with the generation of our parents, where because they didn't know how to meet with the differences, they just separated energetically. Literally, maybe they sleep in separate rooms because, there's a bee blessing for Madiha bee. They never learned, simple as that. So I'm here learning and sharing some of what I'm learning on this path to inspire more devoted relationships, because relationship is exactly that cooking pot where the thing that's most difficult, that you've rejected, that the world has rejected, maybe it's your anger, maybe it's your childhood traumas, maybe it's your need for attention, maybe it's a deep fears you have or deep mistrust of the masculine. All of these things start to come up. And my relationship, of course, just like any other relationship, we've been together, me and Nihab, now for 4 years or so, 4 leading on 5, and married for 1.5. Yep. These stuff start to come out. And of course, we're not trained how to deal with these things when they come out. But part of what's happening, it's not just Madiha's shit coming out and Nihab's shit coming out. A lot of these healings are happening on a collective level. So for example, for me, one of the weakest points in my body, it's my knees. I literally got knee surgery once or twice on my right knee, and then I fell again, and like now my right knee hurts. So it's like a weak point. And the knee is all about the energy of trust, building this trust with the masculine. Because let's face it, a lot of what we've seen in the 3D unawakened world is unawakened men who don't know how to deal with their energy and their attention and their desires. And so the collective feminine in me, the part in my womb and my body that's connected with that, is also bringing that shadow to the surface. So the first thing is it brings these shadows. The second thing that starts to happen, if you really want to walk relationship as a path to enlightenment, is to start to understand the nature of the feminine and the nature of the masculine. And this goes so much deeper than, you know, the few words we've all heard, like the masculine is vision, it's direction. The feminine is the body, is energy, is life force. Because I always understood these things, but only now, only recently, am I allowing that somatically to be understood by my body, my cells, my heart. Okay, I think this flower does not want to land there. Let's try another one. And this is part of the feminine, the flowers, the beauty, the embodiment, the oils, the massages. And so for a man to really understand a woman's needs is to really understand what her body wants in order to feel safe, working on the trust. And this is one of the reasons so many women experience pain during sex. I get so much that question from women on the channel, in the community. I still experience pain in sex. I'm married and it's been almost many months, a year, 2 years. I receive this question so often. And this is simply because the body is not yet opened. It's not yet in its trust. So we can talk about it like a flower that needs to open. For men, they're just ready to go, right? For women, she needs to open like a flower. In order to open like a flower, her body needs to trust, needs to relax, needs to really feel safe with the masculine. And this is not like, oh, he's my best friend, I feel safe. It's not a mental thing. It's literally every cell in her body. Ooh. Like I remember I got a massage from Ihab yesterday with beautiful like cacao butters yesterday. And by the end of it, I felt this liberation in my body, like I was just melting with the universe. And that's the level of relaxation the feminine desires. And for men, their nature and their expansion and their just desire to conquer everything. How can we as women understand and accept that more? Because as women, or personally for me at least, I really feel there's a judgment towards that. There's a fear of that. There's a fear of a man shines and radiates and expands so much. There's a, like the attention goes away. Or that radiance draws a different kind of attention that I'm afraid of or I don't invite. And so part of that understanding masculine and feminine dynamics is understanding our fears in those dynamics. So if I as a woman become fully sexually liberated, for example, what is my partner's fear? Is his fear that I will leave him? That I want to go explore that sexual energy? And this is what comes up. So you start to process deeper and deeper rather than going away from it. If a man has anger that shows up in a relationship, how does he process that? How can he let that anger out? Again, allowing the relationship to be a container for everything, for all that you are, a sacred space. And this really allows you to take the relationship to the next level as a path for enlightenment. And this is my last invitation today. So number 3, which is how can you bridge between the personal and the collective, the personal and the universal. So sometimes in relationships, we take it too seriously. It's about me and it's about him, and like a film, we're playing this role and these characters and this plot and these identities, and he's that kind of person and I'm this kind of person. But eventually, to really walk relationship as a path to enlightenment, connecting with our deepest nature as woman, man connecting with his deepest nature as man, and connecting with the cosmic dance of Shiva and Shakti, the masculine energy of the universe and the feminine energy of the universe, and allowing that dance. And one of the images I really love is the image of yin and yang. If you've ever seen it, it's like a Taoist symbol of the feminine and the masculine, yin and yang. Yin is the feminine, yang is the masculine. But what I never noticed that's been coming online more for me, these flowers don't want to hang there, is how inside the yin, inside the white, there's the black dot, and inside the black, there's the white dot. So beyond this dance of polarities of man and woman, masculine, feminine, there is the feminine inside the masculine, and there's the masculine inside the feminine. And the moment both are allowed to exist, this balance can be created. And for me, that word has been coming up so strongly in my relationship with my partner, but also within myself, my masculine, feminine within, which is how can we balance? Not one needs to dominate or win. It's not black or white. It's not either you're right and he's wrong or he's right and you're wrong. How can we stop trying to be right and instead learn to be more balanced? There is space for his masculine desires to expand and grow and create and move and action and adventure. And there is space for her feminine desire to relax, to have time for a body massage, for connection, for intimacy. And the moment that dance becomes more fluid, because the feminine feels safe to relax and the masculine feels turned on to go out into the world, to penetrate, then that's when the union happens. That's when the peace is created between man and woman, which is eventually at the core of all the chaos and all the peace that we can create and are witnessing in the world. It's the dance between opposites, between polarities, even politically. When you see what's happening and what's happened at colonization, there's such a deep dynamic and dance between the masculine and the feminine, you and your partner. And this is not just something you understand in one video. I'm not sharing the wisdom that will shift your life forever. This is more an invitation. This is a path to walk. This is a path to deepen into, to spiral into. This is a path to open your heart to fullness, to stop being afraid, to stop running away from things that are uncomfortable, from things that are different. If you marry a man that is so different from you, you marry him because that complements you. So when it comes to a point where all you see is difference, then you're running away from the union. And eventually what we want is the union of the masculine and the feminine. And that will change the world and the whole Middle East 1,000,000%. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like it, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and of course subscribe to my channel because I have a very special video for you next week as well.